Hi guys, I'm Debbie Bookstaber. I'm the president of Element Associates. It's a digital marketing and PR agency based in Philadelphia. And this is the session, Blurred Lines, Affiliate Marketing and Public Relations. And you guys can tweet me at BuzzMommy. And that's how you know I've been on Twitter a long time, because I have a really stupid Twitter handle. But with a last name like Bookstaber, that would take up all the characters. So when people say, why have you stuck with the dumb Twitter handle, BuzzMommy? It's because I don't want to use up all my characters on my handle. So one of the things I want to start with is my background is I've obviously worked in both public relations, blogger outreach, and affiliate marketing. And I've been working in affiliate marketing since 2000. I've managed some really large programs, both as an in-house affiliate manager and also as an OPM. I've been blogging personally since about 2000 and have actually achieved, a decent amount of success with affiliate marketing on my blog. So one of the things that I've often done in the blogging world, and again, I just spoke on Saturday at a special session just to teach bloggers about affiliate marketing, is really to kind of be an evangelist for why bloggers should use affiliate marketing in order to monetize. So I can kind of see it from all sides of the house, as an affiliate, as a PR agency, as an OPM. And really, in that nice, unique position, I get to kind of hear everybody's perceptions of everybody else. And so one of the things is, when you talk to a brand or a PR team, assuming they even know what affiliate marketing is, which is, most of them probably can at least fake it and kind of tell you the definition, and you ask them how they view affiliate marketing, they basically view it like this. And the perception is, yeah, it makes money, it doesn't build the brand, it relies heavily on coupons, and if they know anything about it, sometimes if they're very sophisticated, they might say, and as soon as we have multi-channel attribution, that will show those affiliates, right? So it's not really the most positive perception of affiliate marketing as an industry. And then if you ask the affiliate managers or the e-commerce managers how they view PR, blah, 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 fluff. And basically, and that's when they're putting it nicely. And their basic perception is, hey, I'm held accountable for sales. And every penny that I spend, somebody is saying to me, how does this affect your CPA? How does it affect your marketing efficiency ratings? And people come down kind of harshly on them because their performance is very transparent and visible. And they're measured in, and they basically are very resentful of the fact that PR and brand teams are given a lot of money sometimes to do what they would consider waste. And basically they're measured just in impressions and brand awareness. And the fact is that who even knows if those are targeted impressions or what, but they kind of view it as fluffy people who can get away with anything that they want. So they can spend 20 grand on one event, but meanwhile the affiliate manager asks for like a $500 for a newsletter placement they know will work, and they have to fight for that money. So there's a lot of tensions there. Now, I've been talking for a while about how people should find that common ground. When affiliate marketing and PR, or even frankly just e-commerce and PR, when all of those teams share the same goals, which we know that they do, the goal is obviously increase sales in the long run and the long-term health of the brand. When they work together and integrate and actually share strategy and stop fighting internally about attribution and actually remember they're on the same team, they can understand that integrating affiliate marketing with PR and blogger outreach will increase conversion on the whole and also increase brand awareness. It's basically a virtuous cycle. So affiliate marketing, done right, if you're reaching out to content affiliates, can actually increase the brand awareness. You're getting advertising in places you maybe otherwise wouldn't have the budget to get. And it can even lead to earned media if, as a result of more people being exposed to the brand, it's grown. It takes that money from affiliate marketing and reinvest it, can ultimately grow the brand. And then likewise, strong brand awareness done with great PR campaigns or blogger outreach and a lot of good earned media mentions can actually increase affiliate sales, because you could say something like, this product was seen on this celebrity, as recommended on the Today Show, as recommended by this top blogger. So it really does all build on itself. There's a lot of different media types. I'm going to assume that most of the people in this room are familiar with these, but just at a high level, because I know that there's a tape out there that some people might eventually watch. There's a couple different types of media, and traditionally there's been a division of responsibilities based on the type. So you've got paid media, and so that's things like search, online advertising, affiliate marketing. Then you have earned media, which is generally that kind of area which PR teams work in, which is something like organic or unpaid mentions by the press or by bloggers that traditional press outreach, what people would put in the news or the placement sections. And then you have owned media. That's things like your corporate website, your corporate blog, your corporate videos, all of your, your own, the properties that your brand owns or manages. And then you have shared media, and that's stuff like social media, referrals, word of mouth, everything that kind of happens in that area. And in the past, there have been different teams that kind of handle each of these areas. And sometimes they've been siloed and haven't always interacted, or if they had, maybe there have been tensions between them. But now we're seeing all these different types of media converge. And as they converge, there's an overlap now between paid and earned. There's an overlap between all of these different channels. So you might be having a blogger or a press contact that's actually more like native advertising or paid. Or you might have a content site that actually it's really important that they receive that product sample or learn more about this product, but that is also having affiliate. So again, it's that the blending of those different areas. And when those relationships when all the types of media converge, when the lines between paid and earned and owned and shared and everything all kinds of blur, that relationship has to evolve as well. So if the teams don't collaborate and there's blurred lines, that's when you can have everything from attribution problems to brand problems to a lot of internal fights, or even just to the perception to the outside people in the outside world that you're disorganized. I once had a large brand that was sending me thousands of dollars of free products to review on my blog. Even as they were sending me these free products and asking me to do things, I had that brand affiliate manager literally removed me from the program, not for any violation of T's and C's, but because my EPC wasn't high enough and they wanted to sculpt their EPC to look better as a program. Well, of course my EPC wasn't high enough. I was a content site. And so it was one of those things that made that brand not look that professional, and it can ultimately have some issues. But in order to have a better relationship between all these different groups and understanding all these different media types that are converging, you really do have to address some attribution questions. So this is John Oliver. I don't know how many of you guys saw his, ever watched his show or saw that clip of his criticism of native advertising that went viral about a week ago. And so native advertising is just one way of, you can have a lot of different words for it, but basically it's when you have editorial content that also includes an ad. So it could be everything from the exact type of native advertising that he was criticizing, which is when you can kind of like read a newspaper or a website that's objectively the news and have it actually have an article be sponsored by a brand. That's what he was focusing on. Or you can also look at, say, a blogger that has a blog post that contains affiliate links, or a blogger that was paid to write that post. There's a lot of different things that can fall under this very, very large umbrella that we call native advertising. So basically, John Oliver, if you haven't seen it, you should totally watch his commentary, because I think it shows that this is an evolving area of the media and one in which everyone has to kind of focus and address some of these concerns. But he basically says, yeah, the ads are baked into content like chocolate chip cookies into a cookie, except it's actually more like raisins into a cookie because nobody, bleep, wants them there. And he basically was arguing that it's a threat to editorial independence, it's a threat to the news, it's a threat to what people look at as content, and it's actually eroding people's trust in the media. And I think he described the mingling of news and advertising as akin to dipping Twizzlers in guacamole, and it's really gross. But he was really talking about how the model is changing, and the model is changing. Earned media and paid media are now like blending more than ever before. And that's because somebody has to pay for earned media. So we're seeing that publications are doing it. It's increasingly everything from even very respectable newspapers to websites to magazines are having more and more kind of that blended model between paid and earned, because somebody has to pay for that content. On the blogging side in particular, you're seeing more of that because they have to figure out how to monetize this web traffic. Because guess what? You can't monetize your web traffic effectively enough with just Google AdSense and CPM banners. You just can't. So, we're continuing to see this evolve. So native advertising, on the one hand, you have John Oliver, who pokes fun of it and basically calls it gross and points to the kind of the bad areas of the trend. And then you have the other side of it. And here's an article that was just in the Wall Street Journal on August 11th. And it was about Thrillist, which took native advertising to the moon, as they like to say, with a GE-produced sneaker. And within just a few hours of after doing this campaign, this special sneaker completely sold out and went viral. And now it's for sale on eBay for like $2,000 a sneaker. And it went on to discuss how successful this campaign was. And it's, native advertising continues to grow. It's one of the hottest online advertising trends to see like these blurring of these lines that we talked about between paid and earned. So sites like BuzzFeed, the Huffington Post, the Wall Street Journal, and many, many more, and as well as things like Thrillist, they're increasing their investment in this advertising model. So according to eMarketer, the native ad spending is going to go up by 29% this year. And obviously none of that's going to surprise us in the affiliate world because we've been early adapters as affiliates, and also we're used to putting affiliate placements on content sites. And that is a form of pay, right? We might only be paying for performance, but in a sense, we already were blending the lines between earned and paid when you have a great content site, whether it's a blog or whether it's a site that has more of an online magazine or editorial field that was incorporating an affiliate link into their content. There already was that paid element there. So we're maybe a little bit more comfortable with it as an industry than others would. But it's still in that early phase where there's not even standard terms. So some people call it sponsored content, some people call it branded content, some people call it native ads. There's so many different terms. And also the standards are evolving. But whatever term you prefer, there's a couple of different tips for creating some effective content like that. One is that the FTC regulations, which you can easily find online. In fact, the PMA's had some great articles about it. I wrote an article in Feedfront magazine that should be available in their archives specifically about this topic. And also the IAB has a whole guideline about, it's the IAB Native Advertising Playbook. And if you want that link, it's feedfront.com/IAB-NAP, like NAP. So you can even find that short link on Feedfront to the Native Advertising Playbook from the IAB, and that even provides some sample disclosure language, and it also discusses the importance of disclosure principles. The most important disclosure principle is that a consumer should be able to distinguish between what is an ad, like what's paid advertising, versus what's publisher editorial content. And so the best native advertising complements the editorial content, but it doesn't necessarily have to dupe or trick the user. So including a disclosure does not mean that the effectiveness of that content is reduced. If it's actually creating value and it creates value. So for example, if as a blogger, I have a blog in which I talked about the joys and horrors of potty training, if I, in that blog post, include some links to the products that I have used, and yes, I am being paid for them and I'm disclosing that, does not mean that I'm not still doing a service for my readers, because it still is based on an honest editorial point of view. The disclosure would still note that these are products that I've actually used. I've maybe still made some determinations as to what's the best product, and the disclosure is clear and prominent. So nobody's being deceived. It doesn't have to be as John Oliver called it, like the raisin in the cookie that nobody wants. It could be something like Thrillist, where they prominently said that yes, this is a GE-produced campaign, and yet people still responded and bought the product. It's a good example of it succeeding. Here's another example of a site that those in the fashion world very much respect. Sites like Who, What, Where and Purseblog that are highly coveted by anyone in the PR industry as a top place to have your products placed upon. They're not making their editorial decisions based upon pay. Their placements for those sites are not for sale. Obviously, like this thing for here, this is for sale. This Dolce & Gabbana ad, that's obviously something that was paid for. But if they're actually saying like, here's the best, here's the best purse to buy, or here's like the hottest trends in shoes, that's actually based on actual editorial standards. The idea that they would incorporate affiliate links does not make does not diminish their editorial standards. It's simply a way of saying, well, if nobody's subscribing to this, how exactly do you think this content is paid for? So that's it. That's an example of, we might not call it native advertising, but when affiliate links could be incorporated into high quality editorial content, everyone is served. The reader gets great content without having to pay for it. The brand gets something that is a mention that actually helps the brand. It's a win-win for everybody involved. And again, make sure all your disclosures are in there. It can be a very good thing. Now, suppose you're an affiliate manager and you kind of understand this concept. You're not opposed to the mere concept of having, reaching out to content affiliates, or if you're a content affiliate, you're not opposed to having affiliate stuff in there. It can still be really a challenge for an affiliate manager because, how do they identify and engage the key influencers? How do they define that target audience? How do they reach out and educate the affiliates about the brand? How do they cooperate with the PR team or agency who may not want to share their contacts that would be natural contact for the affiliate program? And if you're the PR team and you're somebody who is trained in like all the fluffy PR standards, how the heck do you understand some of the technology of how affiliate marketing works and being able to explain attribution models, cookie, and returns, and all of those other technical issues? Clearly, the teams have to cooperate together because neither one of them, with their skills in a silo, is ideally equipped to handle these issues. But yet, we do know that what's the goal? The goal would be to get these kinds of placements on top sites. Like that builds the brand, it builds sales. That's the end goal that both a PR team and an affiliate team would be judged against. So if I'm a PR manager or an agency and I want to have affiliate marketing work for me, some of my concerns are, is the creative that's out there, whether it's the types of links, banners, the messaging, is it something that builds my brand? Or is it something that devalues my brand by constantly being like 50% off, 50% off? This is not, great content. Here's this product that is always, always on sale. Maybe it's not in demand. Those are some of the concerns you have from a brand perspective. And also, as a brand, I might not want to have my brand on every single site. Like that might not be aligned with our brand values and the image that we're trying to craft. For example, I know some brands that don't want to be on a site that has adult products or has the F word on the site. Well, then that's concerns that might be of key importance to the brand manager or the PR team, but that the affiliate manager might say, this site has it will convert through the roof. Well, there's two different competing goals there. One's brand protection and one's sales. Sometimes you have to cooperate a little bit. But so if I'm a PR manager or an agency, it might make sense for me to reach out to the affiliate manager and to say, hey, I have 100 product samples I'm giving out. Would you like to have 10 of them for the use of advertising out to your affiliates? Are there any special promotions or contests we want to reach out to that channel? And it might even make sense for me to cooperate with you in reaching out to our top bloggers or contacts to see if there's ways that we can get increased placement if we could reward them and compensate them for affiliate revenue as well. So there can be some real benefits. Now here's the meat of what I wanted to talk about, and I'm just checking on time. We're still good on time, so I have plenty of time to get through this and answer questions. What are the biggest obstacles? One of them is that this is an area in which, as an affiliate manager, your time is money, and you have to put your time and spend it in the places that will get you the best results. And the challenge is, have you ever done this where you spend hours researching the ideal bloggers and content sites, you finally get the placements in there for affiliates, and then you don't see the sales? That makes you look dumb internally, whether you're doing a really, really good job and whether it's actually contributed to the sales or not. So then likewise, if you were the content site that took a risk on maybe putting an affiliate link in there instead of trying to just hold out for a sponsored post or getting free product, you feel dumb too because where's your money? And so this is the biggest issue that I hear from everybody on either side. I speak at numerous blogging and social media conferences talking to bloggers about why they should try affiliate marketing as a model, why it's worked for me, why as somebody who's been in this industry for more than a dozen years, I think it's an effective model. And the biggest thing that they come back with is, I see a lot of clicks going over and I don't see that many sales, and is this even worth it for me? So unless they can find certain techniques that make it worth it for them, which I still believe are out there even with last click attribution, they get very discouraged. So last click attribution can discourage many content marketers and actually further reduce the incentives that affiliate managers have for investing their time in this channel that takes more work than some of the other channels. And there's been a lot of studies. In fact, last year at Affiliate Summit, I spoke about one in which it basically showed that content sites were the last click anywhere between 6 to 8% of the time. And this has certainly been written about by the PMA. It's been written about on Affiliate Tip and all of the Affiliate Summit publications as well if you want to research it a little bit more. But the challenge is that when the content site, in many cases, is the first click in that purchase journey, and it actually creates purchase intent. There's many, many, many studies showing that blogs or content sites are actually increasing purchase intent, that they're an important contributing factor, that people search for reviews before they make a purchase, that they search for them at the beginning of the funnel when they're trying to determine what products they want. So in many cases, you'll find that these are the sites that are bringing you new to list customers. But yet at the very end, oftentimes they're losing credit for the sale. And that does not mean that coupon sites are the enemy. In fact, I sometimes have clients who will hear this and say, well, you know what, the solution should be I should just kick all coupon sites and loyalty sites out of my program. To which I say, well, maybe if your product was sold online by only you, and like you could totally control it because there's no other channel that any consumer can go to buy it from, that might be a solution for you. But suppose I'm a product that is available at Macy's, Bloomingdale's, Bed Bath & Beyond, and at my site. Where do you think that the people who are used to buying at like an Ebates or a Retail Me Not are going to go? Do you think that they're going to still come back to you and buy from you? Or do you think when they go to that site that they check as part of their regular buying process anyway, they're still going to buy there? The answer is that the customer behavior is complex, and you don't want to have a knee-jerk reaction where you punish one group of affiliates, like content or loyalty affiliates, at the expense of wanting to develop relationships with your with a different type of affiliate. You really need to look at it holistically. So as people talk more and more about alternative marketing attribution models, as opposed to just last click. So last click, in case there's anyone in the audience that doesn't know, last click means that whoever is the last affiliate site to kind of get a click or place a cookie or whatever other tracking software is in place, whoever's that last click before the purchase gets the credit. And in true last click attribution, that last click gets 100% of that commission. So there's a lot of talk about, should we have multi-touch attribution model? Should we change the attribution model? Should we not pay people for coupons? There's many, many discussions that go on. And here's an article, for example, that from the PMA's website. It was actually written by Jamie Birch. He's an OPM. And his title here is Why Affiliates Should Worry About Multi-Touch Attribution Models. And affiliates are worried. When I talk to people who've built their business on coupons and other areas, they do worry about multi-touch attribution. They worry, I'm still contributing to the sale. I built my entire business model up upon this, and now if they change the attribution, I've done nothing wrong. I've been creating value for the brand. Now I'm not going to get paid. And in some cases, brands have taken the knee-jerk reaction of just saying, you know what, I do want to get more sites that build my brand as opposed to just coupons. And they've kicked all coupon sites out or all loyalty sites out, or they've made it such that they reduce their commissions, and that can make their model very complicated, particularly if there's cash back involved. And so you can't really make a knee-jerk decision about what kind of attribution you're going to use. I think the important thing is to open up that conversation and to have that conversation between the people and all the teams in your company, and to also realize furthermore that based on a lot of the studies, most companies aren't even doing, even discussing marketing attribution at all. And here's a comment actually from Google, actual Google Analytics, and if you Google for it, it's the Google Analytics Marketing Attribution White Paper. You should be able to find it. And this is what Google's comment is. As attribution becomes the norm over the next few years, the most exciting effect may well be the change in how the industry views the fundamentals of marketing. We may have known intuitively that it takes many parts to make a whole, but our budgets, analytics, and departmental structures have encouraged siloed thinking and behavior. Many organizations have a goal of integration, and attribution will give them the impetus to make it a reality. So that's kind of a really important thing. It addresses a lot of what we've discussed, which is that, we've all known along the road that, say, a content site or a blog or all these other places, they all play a role in it. And for a long time when I was maybe back in like 2004, I remember sitting in meetings in companies where we had arguments about over who really played the role for the sale. Was it the paid search team or was it the affiliate team? And those teams would sometimes be rivals. And then, maybe a few years down the path, all of those, in most companies, those teams had started to cooperate and realize that they had shared goals. And maybe even if the affiliate compensation was still last click, internally the metrics would show that search could have a contributing factor, that assist. And over time, Google Analytics has evolved, our thinking about attribution has evolved, and the industry is maturing, and we all kind of have to mature with it, which means getting out of some of that siloed thinking, have some of those integrated things. And so that doesn't mean that understanding the important role that content affiliates play or that that some of these blended paid and earned medias play, that doesn't mean that it has to devalue an important segment of the affiliate industry, but it means that we should at least be having that conversation. And sometimes, depending on your organization, you might have tech limits that prevent you from truly having the proper attribution, or even really getting at what that data is. You can have that hunch. Intuitively, you know that all these different things are playing a role in it, but you might not have access to it. That's okay, because you're having that conversation. So now I want to talk about what are the different alternative marketing attribution models, because this is the kind of stuff that we should all at least know what they are so we can have these conversations and be on the same page. There's the traditional affiliate model, which is the last click. Then there's some alternative models. Again, last interaction is the same thing as last click. There's last non-direct click. There's the last AdWords click. There's the first interaction, the linear, the time decay, the position-based. That's a lot, right? So let's go through what these definitions are, just so we're all kind of on the same page. And before we go through this, I just want to note that a recent study by eConsultancy about this said that only 54% of businesses even claim to carry out any form of attribution. But of those who do, 89% said that attribution had a positive impact on their business, with 29% of them saying that impact was major. So again, there are some benefits in understanding attribution. So there's a couple different attribution tools. I've mentioned a few of them here. So some like Tagman or Intelligent Reach will kind of do it for you. But even if you're on a budget and you don't really have a lot of money, and even if your affiliate network doesn't do this for you or it's not one of the services they offer, you can use Google Analytics. And Google Analytics has a couple different tools. There's the multi-channel conversion visualizer, and then what I have a little screenshot of here, which is called the model comparison tool. So depending on how good you are with Google Analytics, these tools can be really insightful for you. And even if they don't change how you pay your affiliates, they can at least change some of the internal conversations you have. So let me just give you the definitions of some of these models. So the last interaction or last click is what we traditionally see in the affiliate world. So the last click gets the sale. The last non-direct click attribution is actually sometimes a default value in Google Analytics, depending on how you set it up. It's kind of an old school approach in a way. It's not one that I necessarily recommend. The last AdWords click attribution is what I would set up if I were the PPC manager and didn't care about any of the other channels and I wanted to make my channel look great. But again, I don't think it gives a full picture and is completely honest. The first interaction or first click, this would give all of the credits to the first click in the path, which isn't really fair to the last click or all the other contributing clicks along the way, because if that first click were so great, why didn't it convert? So you don't want to necessarily move to first interaction. Then there's linear attribution. So this gives equal, you can even kind of see from the little picture here. So in linear attribution, see how it's even? It gives equal credits to every click along that path in terms of the weight that you might give. There's time decay, which gives everybody a little teeny piece of the pie, but still puts most of it on that last click. And then there's position-based. Position-based is in many ways a great model, but it actually could be kind of complex if you're starting out and you're not like a great pro at Google Analytics. And that basically puts the most weight on the beginning and at the end of the path. And then there's also custom models, which means you can build your own. You could have some discussion internally as to how you want to compensate different people, and you can do all those different things. So again, there's a lot of different attribution models that you can pick. But the important thing to do, some important questions are, as a merchant, you want to understand the path that your customers are taking, because it can help you make marketing decisions. If what you're finding is whether you credit them an affiliate or not, maybe perhaps you find some other ways of compensating them. So if suppose my affiliate technology just is not supporting the attribution, and I don't have the resources or the internal support to change the attribution model, which by the way, many merchants have done, whether it's implementing Tagman, in which case I would encourage you to Google Tagman and Bowdoin case study. I'm not involved in this in any way. I've got no financial benefit to say this, but I think that you might find that case study interesting to read to understand how it made an impact for one retailer that publicly shared it. Another one that you can Google is, I know that Tiny Prints has been very public about how it's shifted its attribution model to a blended attribution model. A lot of the other ones that I know about, I'm not even at liberty to say because some people sign NDAs, right? So we can't even always say. So we can only talk about the publicly available case studies. But the important thing is to be able to see the path that your customer takes and to glean some insight from it. So even if I know that in the affiliate side, maybe last click is still going to be the way my company is deciding to do it, I could choose to compensate those content affiliates in other ways. I could maybe give them manual bonuses based on when I ultimately see what they're contributing. I could choose to allocate a slotting fee or sponsored post to a blended model. I could choose to give them products that maybe are not available to other people. I could choose to do a lot of different things. There's even technology out there where I could give a coupon code that is exclusive to just one site, that then if any other site along the path used that coupon code, that they're not going to get credit for it. There's so many different solutions and workarounds that you can use, but sometimes you can't come up with those solutions and workarounds until you actually really take the time to study that customer purchasing path and understand it, and understand how, if you can use this to get a better insight into what the customer factors are, then you can choose to impact your sales. So for example, I had one client who we did things involving outreach to bloggers. And then at the end of the whole thing, they were like, well, the bloggers didn't lead to a lot of increased sales. Was it really worth the samples to them? Was it worth the time? And when we actually really took a deep dive into the Google Analytics, it showed that the bloggers were an important contributing factor to new to list customers. So the answer is yes. So they were important, even if it doesn't show up on that first level of results. And the challenge is that many PR firms don't understand the technology enough to be able to advocate for what would ultimately result in an overall lift of the affiliate channel as a whole. That doing a PR or blog outreach campaign could actually even result in an increase in your sales with traditional coupon sites and loyalty sites. That it could have a lift on the channel everywhere. If you can't have that understanding of the technology to be able to have that conversation, you can't fight or allocate for funds internally or even develop a strategy in which it's win-win for all the channels involved. So that's, I think, one reason why it's really important to take the time to study these marketing attribution models, to understand them, and ultimately to make some decisions based upon them. So I wanted to make sure I left plenty of time for questions because seeing the number of people in the room, I thought that might actually be a little bit more productive. Or if there's other things that you'd like me to expound upon further, I definitely can. But I know that for these things, sometimes you just have to ask to really know what it is that you're looking to do. Questions? Anyone? Feel free. If not, I'll just talk more. Seriously, none of you guys have questions? Really? Is there anything that you'd like to hear more about that you don't have a specific question, but you wanted to know more about, whether it's how to research and find bloggers, or whether it's how to understand how to set up these attribution models, or what trends are?
Yeah. So, for example, I'm looking for bloggers, for example, that write in Spanish and targeting either Latin America or U.S. Spanish. So how do they go about finding those bloggers?
Okay, so blogger research. Let me go back to the slide that kind of talked about that, just so I have it up. So identifying the influencers is one of the challenges. So one of the things that you guys want to do, if you are an affiliate manager, is, in a sense, approach your affiliate marketing once you've gone to your traditional super affiliates or used all of your available network recruitment tools and your existing list. You actually want to undertake it like a PR or an SEO project. And by SEO, I would say, when you talk to your SEO teams, and if your SEO team has ever engaged in things like link building, they generally have a sense of what are the sites in which we would want to, that are our target demographic, our target keywords, the target sites in which we would like to get some quality inbound links from. And link building doesn't care as much about the traffic from these sites as it does, or their overall influence, as it does about their search engine quality. But it is a technique of research that can be useful. So sometimes if I were working with a client, and assuming I didn't already have an existing list of influencers to go out, I would start with asking them to help me, give me their customer demographic. So everything from areas of the country to the age group to some of their buying habits. I might try to size this using some of the tools available, whether it's like the Google AdWords tools or some of the other available research tools, to get a size and to do a prioritization of these customer demographics. I would then ask them to tell me about their SEO keywords and the prioritization of these. So if it's a brand, is the most important thing to find people writing about the brand categories, specific products related to that brand, specific competitors, kind of understand that keyword universe as a whole and where you want to be placed. You might also want to look about who's writing about your competitors, if you have key competitors in your area that you're trying to displace. So you want to get that kind of general research picture of your customer demographic, your keyword universe, and who's writing about your competitors. Once you take all of that, I would prioritize. I would prioritize based on what do you think that sweet spot is in terms of both traffic and achievability of gaining placement on those sites. And I would literally go through and I would define, I would create a list of all of the key influencers. Literally even you can use tools, whether it's a tool like GroupHigh or other blog research tools, whether it's actually researching and seeing any sites out there that list blogs. But frankly, sometimes the best thing to do is good old-fashioned work. So just as if you were going to be going out there, it's actually clicking onto the sites, it's reading the sites, it's getting a sense of their key metrics, and not just of their overall size. Because remember, you could have a blog that has 100,000 unique visitors, but 50,000 of those on a regular basis might be to one or two posts on that site. So is there any engagement? Is there, what's their social level of engagement? How frequently is the site updated? Does it rank highly organically on any keywords that you're looking for? So create that blogger list by, so if you know that you're targeting moms that speak Spanish, you could look for, Latina mom bloggers in various places of the country. You can search through the existing conferences and see who attends. You can search for who tweets or blogs about certain keywords or certain competitors. If you were looking for people that for say a B2B program that ranked on a particular term, you would want to look and see if everyone's doing that. And then you kind of create that list. You get a sense of all their stats. You can use tools like Compete. You can use, which is not always accurate, but it gives you kind of a proxy. Alexa, again, not always accurate because you have proxy. And then also look at their social influence across channels. So Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, Instagram, and see where they're strong. And then literally, once you've done that, try to segment them as much as possible. Because the fact is, if you just send, this is how, as a blogger, when I get literally hundreds and hundreds of emails a day, this is how they all look to me. Blah, 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 blah. I have found that I can actually get higher and better quality content sites even by targeting the top ones once I've prioritized it individually, or reaching out or sending them a individual tweet, like not a tweet that's the same canned tweet that then if they look in my Twitter, they can see I just sent the same canned tweet to 10 other bloggers. I mean, actual individual contact will have the best impact. So once we've created relationships with bloggers, we can get them involved in all of our programs. They'll sometimes recommend other people. It'll create a relationship of trust. And if you are going to be sending an email out to a larger list, you really want to think about what's the value in it for them. Because if they just get this email and it's unclear exactly how you want to work with them, there's no clear call to action. It's just like, here's my products. High-res photos are available and you can join my affiliate program. Why as a blogger would I care? Is it difficult for me to join? Is it easy for me to join? What are your average payouts? What are the services that you'll provide me? Am I going to be getting customized links that are already personalized with my code sent to me? Is there, what other things, knowing that I might not be an affiliate pro, would you want to provide to me? Are you asking me to use my influence and to personally endorse your product? Because if so, don't expect me to do that research with my own money. So if you're asking me to endorse your product and I've never written about it before, you can assume that I'm probably not going to write about your product if it involves me going out and spending my own money on it. So if you don't have any money for samples, you might want to actually research who has already written about your product, who has already said, I always shop at TJ Maxx, I love TJ Maxx, and then reach out to them if you're TJ Maxx, rather than, I have a product that you've never tried, but I'm asking you to include it in your back to school, product guide. Why would any blogger ever do that unless they kind of have no real relationship of trust with their readers and you're just handing them a bunch of money, in which case it's pretty obvious that they're not personally endorsing it. It's like that kind of common sense level stuff. Any follow-up questions on that? I talk about that all day long. Yeah. Anyone? Okay, then we'll go with you. Yeah. So again, that comes back to this part, which is that in the olden days, you would reach out to somebody and earned media was earned media, and that meant that there was no money changing hands, right? And now everything's blurring, and the reason why it's blurring is because somebody has to pay for it. So talked a little bit about how John Oliver criticized native advertising because, in a way it's deceptive. It's like, is it editorial? Is it advertorial? I can't tell. Nobody can tell, and plus it's everywhere. Ads are everywhere. And he has a good point, but the reason why the challenge happens for bloggers and for the news media as a whole is who is going to pay for this content? Nobody wants to pay to read the content. So they have to support it somehow. So the biggest challenge when you're reaching out to a blogger is that they have to somehow pay their bills. So sometimes it's difficult for them to, if they don't understand the affiliate model, if they don't understand how to work with you, it's difficult for them to decide, am I going to take this immediate anywhere between $50 to say $1,000+ for a sponsored post now, or am I going to invest in taking an affiliate placement, putting that time up on my site and doing all of this work when it might not lead to a sale? And in some cases, the challenge here as to why they get upset is that they will put up these things and they don't see the sales. And so that's why they get discouraged, or they might hold out for sponsored post content, or they might hold out for product samples, or they might want some kind of blended model where maybe they get a combination of sponsored content plus CPA or something else to know that they're going to get credit for the sale, because it's like these studies that they're smart enough to research and find out as well, showing that the content sites under a traditional last click attribution are getting like under 10% of the credit for the sales. That's really discouraging to a blogger who you're trying to get to post about your product, knowing that they might see at most 10% of that commission. And that's the biggest challenge. So again, short of figuring out any other ways of handling that, whether it's you have a unique program where they are going to get a product sample, or they're becoming a regular part of working with your brand, in which every time there's a new product, maybe they get the newest version of it and they write about it, and they are going to get the affiliate placements like the cherry on top of that product Sunday or that sponsored post Sunday. It's in which if you don't have the attribution worked out and they know they're getting paid about 10% of the time, they might not be as motivated by the pure affiliate payment as others would be. That's why it does make sense to look into alternative marketing attribution models. But sometimes it's also, you could just make a strategic decision internally. You know what, we're willing to pay a little bit more for these placements because when we actually study our attribution, even if it doesn't work on the affiliate model, we know that it actually leads to a increase in conversion rates or an increase in like the overall level of sales for the brand. So it's kind of complex. But the challenge that I would say with bloggers is that they can sniff BS a mile away. So it's being honest. It's saying, hey, look, this is the product. This is why we think it's good. We would like to, invite you to try this, or we think that this is something you've already written about on your website. So here's a way that you can monetize some of your existing posts. Then that might make sense for them. I have in the past actually sometimes researched a blogger. If I think it's a really great blogger for me, I've researched a blogger site and I've said to her, you don't even have to write a new post for me. I've actually researched this on this one post that you have ranks so highly on this term that I think that you should just give it a try. like literally integrate this affiliate link here, and here's my recommendation on the best call to action and the best way to do this. And if you do this, I'm pretty convinced that, based on our average EPC, that you're going to see some sales. And if you really want to put your money where your mouth is, you could say, you know what, since you just won't do anything without any money, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I will prepay you $50 and, or some kind of like slotting fee, and basically be like, that's how confident I am that this will work out. It's like that level. If you really believe in that placement, if you really have done your research and okay, this page ranks highly, that might make sense for you to try that with that blogger. It doesn't make sense for every blogger, because not every blogger is going to have traffic to that particular post that you've identified, or not everybody is going to rank highly on that term that's really relevant to you. So it's kind of a challenge, because it's difficult to make some of these efforts scale. And as an affiliate manager, if you're really busy and you're being graded on one criteria, which is your affiliate sales, it's hard to justify the use of your time in areas that don't scale, which is why you want to have these attribution discussions internally, so that way then maybe there's a portion of your goals or your performance evaluation that's based on what's kind of for the good of the brand as a whole, or the good of the company as a whole, where maybe you're not being, that, okay, I'm recommending I put 5 to 10% of my time into doing more relationships with these content marketers, and I realize that it's not going to show up under directly attributed sales to the affiliate channel under the last click model, but I would like to internally have, as part of my performance evaluation, that the other new relationships I bring in that are contributing factors to that customer buying path are considered. And actually, I would say that if you say that to your boss, they probably already think that you're smart, that you've even thought about these issues, so you probably already got some brownie points there, even if it goes nowhere. At least you're talking about them, which makes you different from the majority of the industry. Any other questions?
So I'm assuming you sometimes have some people who just outright refuse as bloggers. Is there a way you can still convince them,
Never.
provide a different offer?
If they absolutely, there will be people where there's a difference between, I like to say that sometimes as affiliate marketers, we look at this from a overall integrated marketing channel, advertising economic model, right? So we know economically, I can pay X amount for a placement and get this amount in sales, this amount of return on ad spend. And on a search model, or even a Google display network model, or any other advertising model, it's pretty clear, right, that we know what that return on ad spend is. The challenge with bloggers is that there's no, other than kind of like some CPM ad marketplaces where if the bloggers join, they do this, there's no one set standard. And so what's really challenging is that you could find a blogger that has 100,000 unique visitors that is willing to work with you on this one area, or have a sponsored post rate of $50, and you can find another one that has 2,000 visitors and they want $1,000 for a post. The difference is that it's not a clear economic model. It's what's the personal value that they put on their time. So in some cases, that personal value that they put on their time, when they might be either a working mom or a stay-at-home mom, or just frankly their blog is just their own personal hobby, their personal value of their time might not be the economic marketplace value of the time. So you kind of have an inefficient marketplace there. And when you have an inefficient marketplace, there literally may be nothing that you could say to convince that blogger, because you could say, economically, this is worth this to me, and that actually might enrage them more. And so you kind of have to accept, maybe, again, just as our market's evolving and growing, and affiliate marketing has changed so much over the past dozen plus years, blogging is evolving and growing, and the standards keep changing. I have bloggers, I've been speaking about affiliate marketing and blogging just kind of as a personal evangelist, because I think it's a great way of economic empowerment for people, particularly those who might really need the help, or maybe they've left the workforce and they're struggling to pay bills. So I've been talking about it since about 2008 on a regular basis at blogging conferences across the country, at least once or twice a year, many times more. And it's funny because sometimes the same people have come and hear me speak 5 or 6 times. And then finally, years later, they say to me, you know what, that thing how we just kept, I kept being I don't like affiliate, or I tried it, and by tried it, I mean I put up a banner ad and it failed, and I had a bad experience, and And then later on, when they're ready for it, when maybe their business has evolved or their life has evolved and they try it and then they're successful, then they come to me and they're like, gee, I wish I'd done that when you first told me about it. But in the meantime, had I pushed harder then, it would have just pissed them off because their value for their time was such that they've decided that the only writing they wanted to do was sponsored post writing. Or they placed a value for the time which was not the value that my bosses or the standard attribution models or even just our economic model would value. So it's kind of a challenge. I would say that sometimes you just can't convince somebody. If you could convince them in any possible way, the best way is through a personal endorsement. So what I have found is we do blogger outreach campaigns on everything from nonprofits to brands. And sometimes other agencies come in and have us do them for them. The thing that I've noticed has made the biggest difference is personal connections. So I had somebody once, just as an experiment, it was their list. And they knew that they sent it out to bloggers, and on average they got like a 10% open rate. And it was the same list. Obviously, it overlapped with one of mine. So we sent it out from my name, and I got like a 56% open rate, the same exact group of people. And they were kind of annoyed by this. But the difference is that of the people on that list, I had probably interacted with in person most of those people in person in some way or online, whether it's being as part of me doing a free webinar for bloggers or Twitter chat or something like that, with almost all of them. So there was a personal relationship. They saw that name. It wasn't a company. It wasn't somebody else spamming them. It was somebody that they knew. And that personal relationship, if you're trying to get in, can be among the most effective way of getting tried. If you get one blogger in and you're like, gosh, this blogger has done so well, try giving that blogger an economic incentive to recruit some of their friends. And maybe have it be different from the regular incentive you'd give other affiliates, right? So maybe say to this blogger, you know what, I'll give you X amount of money for every new blogger that you get in that puts a link up. And then that's another way for them to make money, because then they could go to that person and say, you know what, like, I was skeptical about affiliate marketing too. I also thought it was a total scam. And then I tried it. And guess what? I'm making like $25 a month from that. And that's $25 I wouldn't have made otherwise. And that same post, that 1 hour of time is now paying me off every single month. It becomes evergreen content, evergreen income. And having it come from them as opposed to coming from you, it just came from somebody that they trust. Because when you say that, you're just some scammy e-commerce person who's trying to deny them the sponsored post that they so very much want and have built their economic model on. You can also just hope the industry matures. I've done a ton of blog posts in industry publications to say, bloggers, don't build a business model on sponsored posts. That's unstable income. Build it on something that you can control and manage. And that's why affiliate can be good, because if you can get that done and you can do it properly, it's stable income. Whereas sponsored post depends on if the PR person that likes you, how long they stay in their job. And if they move to another brand or their agency loses that account, that money could dry up so quickly. So it's unstable income. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
What do you use for tracking? And is there like a specific service that's more better for tracking?
You can, it depends on what you're trying to do. So if you're trying to track it for affiliate marketing, then you could use it through the affiliate networks or, your own Google Analytics. There's also custom platforms, whether it's like a Has Offers, a Cake, an Impact Radius. There's like so many, right? There's like a million networks that I kind of can't get into recommending any one particular one or not. A lot of the other things that we do is there's services that can help you, like on the Twitter side, there's individual services where you can track things like your Pinterest analytics, your Twitter, your Facebook, all your social analytics. There's numerous services there. There's services that can help monitor and track the number of blog posts that come in with varying degrees of accuracy. So we do, it depending on the type of campaign, the tracking varies. If I have access to the company's Google Analytics, which is not always the case, then that's a tracking that's based on that. If I don't, it might simply be, here's the blog post links that came in, here's their overall impressions based on known sources, whether it's Compete or maybe they've given me a screenshot of their Google Analytics, and here's all their social influence, and here's the engagement on that post. You can do some of those standard PR reports. If you're trying to do it from an affiliate model, then it really is something that you could work on with your network, or if you had, say, a separate attribution system. Did I answer your question?
Well, I was just curious, like, what do you use, but I guess
multiple services, and unfortunately it varies based on each client, because some clients could have like a tag man type system, which is awesome, but it's so it's expensive, right? So, and other clients just don't have those same tools. So frankly, you work with whatever tools you've got and whatever tools they can afford. There's other tools out there like Radian 6 or Systemos, which mentions the total number of mentions, and then you could show your negative sentiment went up this month versus or your positive. You can show all these different things. There's like hundreds of tools based on every different aspect of this. And so it depends on, are you asking as an affiliate marketer? Are you asking as a brand? Are you asking as a PR company? Because there's just so many, it's almost hard to narrow it down. Sorry if that's not like a concise enough answer. Anyone else? We good? Okay, well, if you guys don't have any other questions, it was just awesome to speak a little bit today about the blurred lines between affiliate marketing and PR, and also the attribution models. And again, you can reach me at deb@elementassociates.com, or you can tweet me at buzzmommy. Thanks, everybody.